Good morning, Sukumar Srinivasan, once again. We are journeying together in the path of realizing the self, or what is called as a self-knowledge. We have covered quite a lot of distance by trying to understand the nature as it is, the human beings, how we are living, and what makes a human being. In continuation of that, we were talking about the mind and the memory. Now, how the mind has developed from the childhood onwards, that was being discussed. So, the mind which has started growing, I'm sorry. The mind which has started growing right from childhood onwards is developing into its own form, without a form, of course, but it has got a content, and the content makes it as a one which is having a form. Like a building has got a shape, a form, but the building is built of bricks, only the bricks. Now, before the building construction started, there was no building, there was only space. But after the building construction is over, with the help of the bricks, which are neatly organized, and they give the form as a house, the shape. We call it a house. Suppose if you remove the bricks, what will happen is, suppose if it is possible, instead of destroying it, but suppose if it is possible for us to remove one brick after another, then where will the building be? The building will not exist. The same way, the mind is built up of memories. The mind is built up of memories only. And the memories stay put in the brain. Now we will be surprised to know that brain, it's hardly 1.5 kilos in weight, and it contains enormous amount of memory, enormous amount, which is unparalleled even in the present technological world. Because we have been using only a part of the brain, maybe about 5%. Only a 5% of the brain is used, and the remaining brain remains vacant. It is lying vacant, and nobody has put up a toilet board there. And making a particular physical part and keeping that majority of that part as vacant, what purpose does it serve? What purpose does it serve? You are having a part. Now take the instance, take the heart, or take the lungs, or take the kidneys. They function as a whole. The entire part is functioning. There is no part which is not functioning, which is non-functional. All these parts, they function fully, 100%. Of course, there may be some inert parts and all that, maybe. Let us not get into that. But as a whole, the physical part, internal organs, they function fully. But if you take the brain into account, it only functions to the extent of about 5%. Remaining, the brain remains vacant. It's not used, unused. Now, having said that, if 5% of the brain can, create so many inventions in the technological field and accumulate knowledge. Now, suppose if the entire brain is used, what will happen? You will become the super intelligent, isn't it? Because 5% of the brain has given you so much, and the entire 100%, if it is functional, then you become a superhuman being, or a supreme intelligence. We can call it in that name, supreme intelligence. But it doesn't happen in the normal course of life. But it has happened in the case of masters. We will call them simply masters. They are not common. Masters are rare. In the entire human history, you can count them. And they become sort of, well-known figures in a society, in the world, and they even get the title of being a messenger of God. It should be true because they have got knowledge which is unreachable by a human brain in the normal course of your life. But they have achieved. And the best part is that they never spoke it out. They never gave the full details. Unlike scientists who rush to the society or to the media or to the press to say what they have found and take a patent for that discovery, the masters never took anything like that. They never said a word about it. I mean, they would have indicated something, they would have guided somebody, a few people, maybe in thousands, but they never told the entire truth as a whole, the reality as a whole. That's the beauty of this. We call them enlightened masters. In fact, the word enlightenment in English language itself is a misnomer, because enlightenment is a word which is being used by the English people for the purpose of understanding something which they do not know in the normal course of life. The student asks the teacher, "Sir, this particular matter I do not know. Can you please enlighten me on this?" "Sir, this particular theorem I don't know. Can you please enlighten me?" Or even in debates or discussion, normal discussion, "Sir, you are saying something I am unable to understand. Can you please enlighten me?" So the word enlightenment is used by the English people in a common parlance on a day-to-day basis. But the enlightenment what we are talking about is not the one which is done in a common way, which is not common at all to all the people. That has been obtained only by a few masters, and they are the ones who can be truly called as enlightened masters. Nobody else. So the masters, they had probably some restrictions on them, either imposed by the divinity or the supreme intelligence, or they knew the rules of the game and they went about abiding the same. They went about abiding with the rules of the game. When they knew the entire thing, they knew the rules also, and possibly that is why the teachings or preachings or whatever you call it of the enlightened masters has not come out in open, in full public disclosure. It has not come at all over the world. So there might be some restrictions. Let's leave it at that. There might be some restrictions. That is why the famous saying of Ta Te Ching in China, that those who spoke do not know, and those who knew do not speak. It's a famous saying in Chinese by a master saying that, Ta Te Ching, those who spoke do not know, and those who knew do not speak. It's very clear. So those who knew do not speak at all. They speak only to the extent maybe even 1% or even 5%. That's all. 95% remains in mystery. We do not know the restrictions. Let us leave it at that. We do not know the restrictions. But whatever has been indicated or pointed out something, then that if we are able to catch and proceed further, then we also might know what is not to be spoken out. We can know. Because human being is designed in such a way that he can elevate himself to a higher level, higher plane of the evolution whereby you live beyond being a human being. That, you can say, that possibility is kept open only for the human beings, not for any other living creature at all. That is why they say human beings are the supreme in the evolution cycle, or the number one in the supreme, in the evolution ladder. It is possible for us to elevate ourselves to a higher level. And of course, it is possible to downgrade ourselves to a lower level, that we know. Start using alcohol, drugs and medicine, this, that, everything, you go down. It is perfectly possible for us to go down at just like a stroke of pen. Easily you can go downwards. That is the freedom given to the human beings. Either you can go down or you can go up. But the majority of the people know how to go downwards, and they do not know how to go upwards. How can you occupy an upper berth? No, they don't know, or they don't even bother to know about it, while they know how to occupy and get into conflict with other people by occupying a lower berth. But it is possible to elevate. That is what is said as, alchemy. There is a word called alchemy in chemistry. That is the art of converting iron into gold. The art of converting iron into gold is called as alchemy. In Tamil we call it Rasavadam. And the people who have done penance, meditation severely, they have acquired certain powers. They call it Ashtama Siddhis. They call it 8 types of powers. Now, one is, you can walk on water. You can jump from one body to another. That sort of things. And let us leave it at that. They are part of religion. But they acquire certain powers which are not possible, capable. Individual human beings are not capable. That sort of powers they acquire. And one power is this alchemy. And the modern science is not very conversant with the art of converting iron into gold, because if it is possible, then they would have created a hell of a lot of storage of gold. But it has not happened. So we have to conclude that they do not know. But it existed, and the people did it, and the masters did it. The masters from India and China, they have done it. Alchemy. Now, this alchemy, the word has got another connotation, that instead of iron, you can convert your physical body, the human body, into a luminous one. You can convert your body, a physical body, as it is, as we see it. This body can be converted into a luminous body, because the Creator is supposed to be in a luminous form. He is formless, but he is supposed to be in luminous form. And that's what the modern science, the quantum physics also says. The matter exists in 2 forms. One is in a matter form, other is a wave form. So we do not know for certain how they exist, but they exist in 2 states. That is what quantum physics says. Now, if matter is possible to be in a wave state, then it should be possible for it to be in a luminous form also, because lights are waves, energy waves. So, it is possible for the human beings, with a lot of effort, strenuous effort, and the single point focused, you can say meditation or penance or something, it is possible to achieve this power, but that power is not going to help us at all to know ourselves. You are powerful, that's all. You know this particular art, that's all. But you can't proceed further because you got stuck in that. People who achieve these sort of powers, superhuman powers, they get enchanted by those powers and then they are stuck there. They stay there itself. They become static. They don't go upwards. You have to go upwards to find out about yourself. So if whatever powers which are likely to, sort of allure you, you have to leave it. You should not get magnetized by those powers. You should not get attracted by those powers. You should go forward or you should go upward. So that possibility of elevating ourselves from a human being into a higher being, which is nothing but a divine, exists. And so it should be possible for us to do that. So we were talking about the mind and its powers and all that, how the mind, how the brain, takes care of the memory part of the life, where the memories right from the childhood are stored like a CCTV camera, TV unit. It gets stored there for lifetime. Maybe the individual details are not available, but as a whole, the certain memories, they form the backbone of the memory bank. The memory bank has got tremendous amount of memories starting from 30, 40 years back and even up to what happened yesterday. These are fresh memories, those are old memories. But old memories are what? They remain in the human brain and they can be recalled at any time, or it by itself it sends out the reminder that I exist. Because when the thoughts come, the thoughts can come from yesterday's memory bank or from 40 years old memory bank. It can come from anywhere. You don't have a control at all. Do we have a control? This is a very big question. Because thoughts are the one which, help us, guide us, misdirects us, makes us to be emotional, makes us to be happy, makes us to be sick, miserable, everything. The thoughts have got that function because once they come, they occupy you and you become the slave of those thoughts. And the thoughts are nothing but waves, like waves in the ocean. Thoughts are nothing but waves of the memory. And like the unending motion, wave motions, it is also the thoughts processes is also unending. It comes automatically. It comes whether you like it or not. It comes. It comes. We don't have a control. If I say no, I'm going to a temple, so I should not get these sort of bad thoughts. You will get it. Once you go and pray in front of the God, you will get some thoughts which are not related to the godliness at all. You will become sort of embarrassed. But of course, fortunately, whatever you think people do not know, so they don't bother, and you also are safe in the saying that whatever happens in my mind in the form of a thought is not known to other people, so I am safe. But imagine that if whatever thoughts are available in a human mind, if it is made known to other people also, what will happen? We have some comedy scenes also about this particular aspect. When somebody acquires a power to know what is happening in the other people's mind, it becomes hilarious. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. Because, forget the part of temple and all that. What will happen if you are given the power to know what has happened in the other people's mind? Easily people will come to blows because we always think bad about other people. We try to do something cunning and then try to cheat them. We try to, disrupt a marriage, perfectly working marriage also. We try to disrupt and if that thought is known to this fellow, this person, what will happen? There will be a conflict. There will be violence. Tremendous amount of violence will take place and there will be a lot of, untoward incidents which will take place in the world and people will simply die because of that. So the creation, the Supreme Intelligence has made a provision that this is not available to you. This memory of yesteryears, birth, the previous births, these are there, but they are not made available to you. You can't recall it. You cannot think about it. And on the contrary, it will also not come by itself like it happens in our current memory. This birth's memory, where thoughts come out of memory, the previous birth's memories, they are stacked up. They do not have any dynamic motion. They do not send out any thoughts. Thereby you are not reminded of what has happened in the last birth. This is one of the aspects of the, in the religious sense, it is called the five, the powers of a creator: the birth, the life, the death, the concealment. The concealment. The concealment is this: they conceal the previous births. That is the power of creator, if you want to call it that way, but it is concealed. And the last one is grant, a divine grant. Let it be. We will not go to the fourth and fifth at all. We will confine ourselves with the first three powers. So, the memories function in such a way like an ocean, and the waves go on continuing to come one after another, and they only help us. They only help us to live, to think, to remind, so many things. Without the thoughts, nobody can exist in this world, present world. But there is a possibility of doing away with the thoughts and then living without, it is like a plain lake without any motion. There are no waves. How does the water there? Still. The water is still. There are no waves at all. And it's a beautiful way of living, of stillness. Stillness is nothing but God. That is what they say. Religious people say stillness is nothing but divinity. Now, is it possible to attain that sort of stillness in our mind? That is a question. If it could be obtained, then your life will be beautiful, supremely happy. That sort of happiness which nobody would have enjoyed, despite all their material wealth and whatever, business, profession, wealth, property, everything. Namas, even the number one, the rich man in the world would not have experienced that sort of bliss. They call it bliss. But it comes only because if you are having a mind which is still. Otherwise, what happens for all the normal human beings, what happens is the mind goes on sending out thoughts and making us to live, and we think that we are thinking. That's why these thoughts are genuine, and they are the one which has to be acted upon. We think so, and then we do actions and get into trouble. We create a conflict. Because your entire physical action in the outer world is determined by the thoughts which are coming out of your mind. If you think deeply, you will understand that, you will accept that, yes. Either it can come from the psychological mind, or it can come from the knowledge part of the mind, that is the intellectual part of the mind. It is possible. But intellectual part of the mind, the thoughts do not come by themselves. Only when you are engaged in doing a particular job. Only when you are engaged in doing a particular job, that knowledge about that particular job comes to your mind. It comes from the knowledge mind, intellectual mind. And it helps you to complete the work, and then it goes back. That's all. By itself, it doesn't send out any thoughts, unlike the psychological mind. Psychological mind, which is the demon, if I would use that word. Psychological mind is a demon which goes on sending out thoughts by itself, whether you like it or not, whether you recall it or not. Even against your will it sends. Because the ocean cannot be controlled. The ocean, as it exists in the nature, it cannot be controlled. It will go on sending waves. But if you want to be a motion without a waves, what you have to do is you have to go to the mid-sea, where there may not be that much. Maybe they are still, or maybe little waves are there, that's all. So that is a perfect example of how our mind is. What you have to do is if you are not able to face your thoughts, and you want to avoid the thoughts, what you have to go to is you have to go to your center. You have a center inside, there you have to go. And that center does not have any movement at all. There is no movement. The mind, the psychological mind cannot control its own center. But that center has got a tremendous amount of knowledge. That is a supreme intelligence. Tremendous amount. So if you are able to reach that center, then your life will be blissful. You will be happy. You will be joyful. You will be joyful and happy without any material assistance. See, whatever happiness we derive in the day-to-day life is because of possessions of physical properties. Possessions, products, things, they only make us happy. And that happiness is, it's only temporary. It cannot remain forever. Once that is, see, you buy a cell phone, you become happy. You show it to other people and, be happy and all that. Glad you have purchased a costly cell phone. Okay, you are happy. What happens after 1 week? You don't show it to others. You just keep it within yourself. And it becomes part of you. And you are not having a mind which was happy when you purchased that phone. That happiness is gone. Suppose assume that you have 5 phones. You buy one after another. When you buy the 5th phone, will you be happy as when you bought the first phone? No. Same way, cars, houses, properties, this, everything. That temporary happiness is the nature of happiness in the world. The happiness what you derive out of these products is only temporary, and people are after it. People are after it without knowing that the happiness they are likely to derive from those products and properties and all that is only temporary, and it will fade away over a period of time. Despite that, people, go for it and go on trying to achieve more and more and more. There is no end to it. The mind will never rest that what I have got is sufficient. The mind has got an insatiable demand for more and more, whether it is house, whether it is money, whether it is jewels, whether it is material things. The mind wants more and more because it can never be satisfied. It can never be satisfied. So only the people with knowledge and people who are seekers, they seek the knowledge about themselves, they will understand, yes, this is a mirage. The mind can never be satisfied. So they will start detaching themselves from the material possessions. They live with the possessions, but they will be detached. What is essential, they will have it, but their detachment will be total. So then only you can make your mind calm and quiet a bit. If you are able to do that, we would have achieved, say, at least 40 to 50% of your journey. So the next step where we have to keep our mind in equilibrium without any much of expectations, without attachments, is to make the mind still. We have to make the mind still. That is what many elders have told us. What is ultimately required is to keep your mind still. Then you will have an opening. You will have an opening to go further upwards. But if you are closed, if the mind is closed, but if the mind is after the material possessions which arise out of your likes and dislikes, your whims and fancies, your desires, your desire to be one up on the other, your desire to be one up on your neighbor, because that is where we have been brought up, to win at any cost, to be the number one. We are chasing a mirage. And on the way, you trample upon other people, because to be one means alone. You have to be alone. At top, you are alone. That means you leave all the other people behind. and you trample upon them. So the sense of competition which has been induced in us, which is now inside us because of our perverted way of living, and the most dubious way the education is provided to us, because it is one-sided. Your education has been given as if your success is dependent on the achievement in your academic curricula and get a job or a profession. That is what they think. The education is only parallel, lopsided. In the outer world, you grow, you amass, get tremendous success in your schools and colleges and universities and get a good job and get money. Okay, this is the growth in the outer world. What about the inner world? Have you grown as compared to the outer world? No. You have not grown. And on the contrary, you have not been told how to grow also. And you have not been told that there is a possibility of growing inwards also. That is the worst part of it. That's the worst part of it. So we do not know whether we have to grow inward, and we are not taught as to how to go about it. All we have been told is to pursue the dreams in the outer world. And West, particularly, has got tremendous amount of material to achieve success in the outer world. That is not going to help us at all. Now they have realized it is not helping them at all. But in the East, we have already realized that material possession is not the only thing in life. The fulfillment in our inner world is the one which is to be achieved. That our people, our elders have already told us. So, thank you. Let's go to the next video tomorrow. Thank you very much.